Live coming at you, Vintage Vikings. Hope you guys are having a great Thursday, July 9th. Pretty awesome show for you tonight. We got TB, and if you guys don't know, we have our third host with us. His name is Bill. We did have some technical difficulties with him, as you guys can see. His iPhone exploded yesterday with no sound, but he's with us today. So we want to do a special kind of short little kind of video or stream today with you guys to kind of let Bill talk and let you introduce himself to the show and to you guys, and then we'll start from there. So, Bill, take it away. Let's hear about how long you've been a Vikings fan, what this team means to you, and essentially kind of what you think is like, well, what this team has had an impact on your life, I guess, if you're okay with that.
That's a big impact. Bill Dunkel here, Sir Purple Encyclopedia, which I will quickly say that name was given to me by Rest in Peace, and I think TB might know him by Facebook. And I met this gentleman in person before he passed, Joe Eberly. And you remember him, TB?
I remember Joe.
Yeah, and then my mother Marilyn, as I called her, so she came up with the encyclopedia, and then Joe took it from there. Fan sense, well, it's kind of, TB goes back, where TB and I are the same age, 3 weeks apart, but he goes back about a couple of years more than me. Well, maybe even three to be actually, because my first game I remember watching is the opener in 72, Fran's return on Monday Night Football, which they lost to the Redskins 24-21. And I remember the block punt, Mike Eyeshide. And I remember watching it with my old man, Senior. And see, my family was not sports people. I got this obsession with sports, all me, myself, and I. And the obsession is the Vikings number one, but the obsession goes to the NHL, NBA, and MLB. And so I go from 70, this is what I don't understand. 72, I remember that game, and I can't remember nothing else until 74. So obviously, I remember
the whole Super Bowl year.
Yeah, TB remembers games from, I believe, 71, correct?
Yes.
Yes. So, and it wasn't at the Colts?
Yeah, Monday night.
Yes, because wasn't that around your birthday?
That was on my birthday, my fifth birthday.
Yes. So
I thought my dad was home to celebrate my birthday. Yeah, he was, but
yeah,
there was the Vikings played. They played the Colts, who won the Super Bowl.
Yep.
And so that's my first memory of watching the Vikings. So, yeah, I mean, dude, how did you miss a whole Super Bowl year?
I don't know. I probably watched it. It's funny because I always think of this, even when I was a little kid. It goes to 74, and I remember vividly 1974. And what I remember vividly is obviously the Vikings. But I'm going to quickly say I'm Twins fan also, but I was also an Oakland A's fan because I remember that 74 World Series when the A's beat the Dodgers. And I still remember Mike Marshall and the only game that the Dodgers won in that series. And I remember that year Rick Barry and the Warriors beating the Bullets, Elvin Hayes, Wes Unseld, and sweeping them. And then North Star fan, but my second favorite team were the Flyers, where Bobby Clark won the Stanley Cup. But anyways, as for the Vikings, that year in 74 was obviously the Super Bowl, their third Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And what I remember most about that year, and TB's can attest to this, they lost 3 games at home. And the gut punch of losing and watching your coach be carried off the field and losing to Detroit 20-16, Farzano, I believe his name was.
Farzano, yeah.
And that's the first time they beat the Purple, I believe, in 13 games.
13 straight times.
Yeah, 13 straight. So I remember that, and I was so pissed. I tell you, the game I do remember wasn't on TV. The 51-10 Oiler game.
No, it was blacked out.
And I remember good old Mother Maryland. I'm listening to the game on the radio and had the great idea to go to Woolworths. And I remember I was pissed. I still remember that. And I almost stomped my feet. What are we doing here? And I honestly think the Vikings were so big back then that I remember going there. So they did have the game on. So I do remember that, but I was still pissed. The Patriots game when we lost at the last second. Should have won that game. That was a Fran got into a fight game.
That was Fran's fight.
Yeah.
That was France.
And by the way, I love Paul Cross. I still don't know how he didn't. I know he wasn't a great tackler, but come on, man.
So,
And then,
Bill, tell us a little bit about, if you're okay with, like, what is the Vikings like? What kind of an impact have they had on your life? So,
well,
tell us.
that's
From what I understand, you're like a season ticket holder for how long?
yeah, yeah. And I'm going to get to I was going to get to that. So in '74, and that's where it all started. The playoff game, they beat the Cards in the divisional playoff. I remember that whole day, and NFC Championship game, then the Super Bowl. So then I think how they became. It was those first 3 years, 74, 75, 76, because 75 was the Drew Pearson, the greatest Viking team ever, in my opinion. So I'm 9 years old crying when they lose that game. How did they become so important? In 76, they made the Super Bowl again. I was obsessed. I mean, as TB can attest, obviously back then in the 70s, there's no internet, obviously. The only, we get all our info from radio, little TV, and the paper.
Mm-hmm.
And if we want to know anything from the past, when we were in grade school, and TB will attest to this too, you got your little book orders, and you order these books.
Scholastic books.
There you go. And I still got them. So they have meant everything to me. The Vikings have meant. I'll tell you. Just a quick thing. 1979, and this has to go with your question.
Yep.
1979, Jim Marshall's last game ever against New England. My parents had the wonderful idea to let's take Mother Marilyn's mother and dad to brunch on a Sunday, right when the game is on. And I was so pissed because I said, listen, the Vikings are on. And plus, it's Jimmy's last game. I want to see it, So it's an obsession. And been watching them since 74, haven't missed a game, season ticket holder since 95. That just says it all. My whole wardrobe is all sports anyways, but it's mostly Vikings. So it's, I have my favorite Vikings, favorite teams, stuff like that. But yeah, it's a total obsession. I could go down every year about something I remember from every single Vikings year since I've been watching them.
Yeah.
And do you feel like, I don't know, maybe the last, I don't know, do you still feel as passionately today as you did back then, or?
Nothing will ever beat, and I don't know, TB, I think will attest to this. Nothing for us that grew up in the 70s with those teams. Nothing will ever beat it because number one, that's when football was football, and that's number one. And number two, just there wasn't the stuff it wasn't a video game. It was football. And there wasn't guys leaving all the time with all the money because a lot of these guys, TB had other jobs.
Yeah, they had to have other jobs.
Yeah, they had other jobs. So, and Fran Tarkenton's my idol, who I have met a couple times. And the reason, I'll tell you this, I've told people, here's something that's very important. Fran Tarkenton really made me not just a Viking fan, an NFL fan, because I'm short guy and he was short. So I kind of related to him. Then we grew up with the Purple People Eaters. You just the only, negative side, just haven't won the big one, but Bud Grant, greatest coach in team history. Today's Vikings, and TB knows this because we talk about this all the time. I still love them, still passionate. If they win it, I will cry, but it does not compare to the childhood 1970 Vikings at all.
Not at all.
Not at all. Because I think actually when you're a kid, you're just a kid and it means so much. And when you become older, it still means a lot. I'll be honest with you. I still get mad, but I still was really getting mad when they lost in 98 and stuff like that. So it's kind of changed here because the teams have been so inconsistent. That's another thing. That's key. In the 70s, they weren't inconsistent. Right, TB? The 78, they made the playoffs, 8-7-1, but then 79, after all the retirements and trades and blah, 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 like in a sense, new guys coming in with Tommy, they always made the playoffs. When we were kids, the expectation was every single year they were going to make the Super Bowl and hopefully one of those years win it. Correct, TB?
No, that's correct.
That's 100%.
It
So
was Super Bowl,
today
it was literally Super Bowl or bust.
is Super Bowl or bust. And our rivals back then was not the Packers, in my opinion. Dallas in the NFC, the Rams,
Rams.
Redskins, to some extent, but Dallas, because Dallas was a Vikings thorn in the side. They lost to them on Christmas Day, playoff game in '71, and then the Hail Mary, though they beat them in '73 in the championship game, but still a thorn in the side with Staubach and Landry.
Dallas. What a lot of people don't know about the whole Dallas thing is, off the field, they were a thorn in the Vikings side too, because Tom Landry and Tex Schramm were on the competition committee. And whatever they could do to screw with how Bud Grant would do things, they did. The 12 men in a huddle, you know what that's from? That was put into place after the 73 NFC championship game, where Bud would take his time getting people out of the huddle. Bud would have like 4 people. He would have like a 14 people in the huddle on the defensive side. So whenever the teams came to the line, they didn't know who was staying and who was going. And then he would run them off the field at the last minute.
Tony, who was that miracle at the Met? Who had that greatest Hail Mary catch?
That was Ahmad.
Rashad, Kramer to Rashad.
That was Rashad?
Yeah, Kramer to Rashad, yeah.
Okay.
So, I mean, the things with the Cowboys was off the field also. Oh, and by the way, I'll answer Anthony's question. Fran got in a fight with Ron Bolton.
Yep.
He got in a fight with Ron Bolton. He scored the game-winning touchdown, and then he just turns around and throws the ball in Bolton's back. And
I remember that.
I don't know what led up to it, but then it ended up being a real fight.
Yep.
A real fight. But yeah, I mean, with a lot of the Cowboys Vikings stuff, they were our biggest rival.
Yep.
The Cowboys were our biggest rival, not only on the field but off the field. The Rams were our rival because the saying was, you couldn't beat the Rams in LA, but the Rams couldn't beat you in Minnesota, which was bullshit. Minnesota, the Rams had better teams, but the Vikings were just better than them that day.
You are right, because remember 76 and 74, those championship games, the Rams obviously were better.
They were down to the wire.
The Vikings got the breaks, they got the turnovers, they got, the James Harris, end zone interception, and then 4th and goal in 76, they didn't go for it, the one, and then the block by Nate Allen on Tom Dempsey's field goal attempt, and Bobby Bryant 90 yards down the sideline, touchdown. That changed that changed that whole game.
Yeah, that changed that whole game.
To me, that's the greatest play. I don't want to hear. My opinion, the greatest play in Vikings history over the one in 2018 with New Orleans, only because the New Orleans one was a divisional playoff game. 76 was to go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, championship game.
Miles says, "I do miss when sports was sports."
100%.
It is interesting. Yeah, it's interesting you say that, Miles, because it's like part of it is, the generations now, the younger kids and I don't know, boys and girls who get into the sport, they usually will pick a player and they won't know the different genres. So part of that, I was thinking about like nostalgia. You were talking, Bill, about how important it is, when it made an impact for you. And like for me, I remember I was always a Vikings fan, but I always gravitated towards the quarterback play. And I remember my favorite quarterback was Steve Young. I would tune in to every San Francisco 49ers game that I could. I would sneak out of my room at night and I'd watch the replays on ESPN at night. And it's a different era. Nowadays, these kids will say, well, Patrick Mahomes might be the greatest quarterback of all time, to them. And it's interesting. So,
and you know what I tell people? This is what I tell people: the players you got now are playing under a completely different set of rules than what the players played in back in the day. This game nowadays is so pass oriented, you can't play defense. Yep. You're just out there for aesthetics. We're lucky, and I'm a defensive guy, so I'm different from you guys. We actually were in an era where you could actually play defense. Yep. And the sticking point, here's the whole thing for the Vikings. This team was built. Those great Viking teams were built on the defense.
They were.
You know, you can't. You didn't know you didn't have offensive stars. You did, but I mean, if you were a Viking fan, name a Minnesota Viking. Oh, Alan Page, Carl Eller, Gary Larson, Jim Marshall, the Purple People Eaters.
No.
They were the vocal. They were the, yes. Paul Krause. If they were on that defense, that's who everybody knew who it was. The Vikings really didn't have a real offensive star till Fran came back, and then once Fran came back, they also got Chuck Foreman.
Yeah, Chuck, the greatest all-purpose running back in Viking history.
Chuck,
not even close.
Chuck, you could probably say, is the one, as great as Fran was, and he had a great relationship with Bud Grant and Jerry Burns, and you kind of needed, let's be honest, Bud didn't want to trade him when he took the job in '67. Fran wanted out. But those two worked great together. But having Chuck Foreman in that offense opened up what was really a bland offense, to be honest.
It was.
It was really bland. Chuck could run, could catch, could block. He was a game changer. Chuck is the one that could take a 5-yard screen pass and turn it into a 20-yard game. Fran didn't have to throw a lot of deep balls.
Nope.
As long as he had Chuck Foreman, he was fine. I mean, Chuck, catches 73 passes in 75. I think he caught 54 in 74 or 70.
Well, in 75, he was remember in the snowball game against Buffalo on that Saturday, December 20th, when they beat the Bills 35-13 at that time, they're called Orchard Park. It was the OJ. It was going into that game was the OJ versus Chuck game because total touchdowns. And, Fran won the MVP that year, but Chuck was right up there. He was tremendous that year. Tremendous.
And the only thing and here's the funny part. He missed the scoring title by 6 points because O.J. Simpson got a touchdown on a pass.
Yep.
He missed the NFC rushing title by 6 yards to Jim Otis in St. Louis.
Somebody threw a snowball, hit him in the eye. Nobody knew who it was until just, I think, a few years ago. It turned out to be a 12-year-old kid.
Yeah.
From Buffalo fan, 12-year-old kid threw a snowball, hit him. They were throwing snowballs all game. They were pelting the Vikings all game.
Chuck Foreman pissing off Bills fans.
Vikings had to leave the field early.
Yeah.
The Vikings had to leave the field early, and you see the team leaving the field, and then you see this Viking player throwing snowballs back at the fans. That was Fran. That was Tarkington.
Love it.
So, they used to let Paul Krause tell a story. Well, the offense stayed out there. If they have got the ball, who was going to do what? And so in the huddle, they're like, okay, who's playing quarterback? It was going to be Paul Krause. So they had all the positions figured out, but they didn't have to because they mercilessly let the clock run out. And so they got him off the field. But yeah, it was the Vikings just went in there and beat their asses. And that was on national TV. It was a Saturday afternoon game.
So late game too.
So
it was early.
If we're talking about the era, if we're talking about the eras that are changing, right? We're kind of on this topic of era was defense. They allowed them to play probably a lot rougher, probably maybe less penalties called from what I understand, maybe.
The NFL changed. TBO says the Mel Blount rule. That's when the passing game.
Yeah, they opened up the
Mel Blount rule.
When they put the Mel Blount rule in there,
one of the greatest cornerbacks ever.
Can you tell me what that is? Because I don't know.
You had to stop riding them down the sideline. You could only hit them within 5 yards.
Yep.
Oh,
and
the jam.
Before then you could jam them any chance you got. Usually, if they called pass interference, the ball had to be on the way, or you had to stop him from somehow not being able to catch the pass. But that's what made Mel Blount a Hall of Famer.
Nice.
But when they changed the rule in '78, they wanted to open up the offense. Yeah. And believe it or not, when they opened up that rule, the quarterbacks that benefited the most were the old school quarterbacks. Tarkenton's best year was '78. Staubach put up numbers.
Terry Bradshaw
became an All-Pro when they changed the rule.
So, quick question then: if we're talking about this NFL 2026 season in this era,
Yep.
I mean, what do you look? What are you looking for? Can a defense still carry you the majority of the way?
Yeah, but
I would say yes, but I've seen it to
it's so
where
tough.
here's the problem. You can tell when a defense is shutting down an offense, right? And Bill, you've seen this before. All of a sudden, you start getting these bogus pass interference calls.
Yep.
That's what slows down a defense more than anything because
Well, they can't hit anybody either.
you can't touch them, you can't hit them, you can't even look at them.
The quarterbacks, you might as well put a skirt on them. I mean, let's just say this: Turkey Jones in '76 of Cleveland
Yeah,
body slammed Terry Bradshaw, body slammed him, and then Jim McMahon got waylaid in '85, wasn't it? With Charles Martin,
86.
86. So Charles Martin of Green Bay. So you could never do that today. If you
No.
did that today, you're what? Suspended?
You're suspended and then you're fined and you might be kicked out of game. But
Jack Tatum hitting Sammy White in Super Bowl 11, where Sammy held on to the ball, where the helmet comes off, he held on to the ball. Same deal. That happens today. That's why the game is not. It's football, but it's not football anymore.
it's not football.
True football, I should say.
It's not football. You can't. I mean, as far as you can't even hit the quarterback now.
Nope.
I mean, you barely touch the quarterback, and depending on who the quarterback is, how you hit him, you're going to get flagged.
Can I say something? Yeah, and that's why I have a tough time when they say, "Well, Brady, he's all time, but he played a lot of years, yes, but he also played under rules that Joe Montana or all those guys that came before him didn't, back in the 70s, 80s, whatever, and 90s, they didn't have those types of rules because now it's where Joe Montana, he got concussed in the when they got destroyed 49-3 in that playoff game, and then he got concussed again in the NFC Championship game when they lost to the Giants at Candlestick. So you can't touch him now. You can't touch him. And I think personally, Joe Montana is a better quarterback than Tom Brady. Personally, that's just me.
More clutch. More clutch.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's clutch. He never lost a big game in the Super Bowl.
I always tell people
Undefeated. He played well in every game.
You can go generational, but you put any of these quarterbacks nowadays, here's the thing, even up to, and I'll put Brady in there, you give him the rules that they had to play under in the 70s and 80s, half these quarterbacks wouldn't make it. Half these players wouldn't make it. The receivers definitely wouldn't make it.
Nope.
It was
I
open season.
I heard some of those receivers, it was basically a death sentence going over the middle.
It was. You had two receivers.
Receivers,
and you had one that was specifically to go over the middle. For the Vikings, it was Sammy White.
Yep.
Are we blaming the Raiders for all of the rule changes, TB?
No, we're blaming the Cowboys. We're blaming the Cowboys.
Well, the Raiders, everybody knew what they did. They took everything and tried. And even Madden admitted to it. He said, "Why not try? See if they do anything about it."
Shout out to Go Pack Go. Thanks for popping in, buddy. Yeah. So Tony, like, what? I mean, I think our defense is probably one of the best it's been. I mean, it's consistent at least the last under Brian Flores.
Historically, for this era, yes.
I mean, I have to tip my hat and give that man his props. I mean, I'm not worried about the defense. Not one
My
bit.
problem with Brian Flores is he's a linebackers coach, and he was a linebacker when he was a player. So he focuses on the linebackers. I'm a D line. So it all starts up front. You really haven't done anything with that D line since you've been here. Hargrave and Allen were a joke last year. Now you've got two rookies, and hopefully it works out. We can hope. I'm a 4-3 guy. Unless you've got a big nose tackle and big athletic linebackers and big linebackers, a 3-4 works.
Yeah.
But I mean, every time the Vikings have played a 3-4, this is the first time we've been successful with a 3-4 with Brian Flores.
So, Bill, how much further do you think the league can go to make it more of an offense? Do you think it can go a lot further? Do you think it's going to turn into the Pro Bowl level type?
It already has.
Anything's possible with the commissioner, who I call the dictator, and he's already ruined this game and ruined everything about it. So anything's possible. I mean, it's It's hard. I mean, obviously these guys are bigger, they're faster. We all know that. But again, these the defense and TB knows this. They're so they can't hit anybody. So you can't if you even personal foul. I mean, what are we doing? I mean, back in the day, as a lineman, TB, they could head slap. Obviously, they don't do that anymore. That got
You
banned.
used to be able to run in practice something called an Oklahoma drill. You can't do that
Yep.
anymore.
See, Goodell has just ruined it. Some of these rules are.
Well, here's what happened. When
Yeah.
you still had your physical camps and all that stuff, but then Corey Stringer died.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
That changed everything.
That chain, yep, that's right.
And so right away, the NFL's like, we don't want to get sued.
Yeah.
And that's if the NFL does anything proactive, that's because they're being reactive to the possibility that there could be a lawsuit.
Yep.
They don't do anything proactive.
So for the people who don't know, Tony, explain Corey Stringer, who he was, what happened that day.
Corey Stringer, up and coming offensive tackle for the Vikings.
Tackle? He was a tackle, right? Yeah.
Yeah, he just got over a Pro Bowl year. I remember this like it was yesterday. That was a hot summer. It was hot and muggy.
It was
I think
hot.
it was, yeah.
And so first day of camp, it's a regular day of camp. And Corey basically goes through the drills, but he's overheating.
Nope.
And there's pictures of him that the Strip took him, the Pioneer Press took him. There was a photographer, Billy Joe McFarland. You remember him, Bill?
Yes.
Photographer. Okay, he had a ton of pictures of Corey. Well, Corey was in distress during practice, and you could tell.
Yeah.
And BJ was still taking pictures. Corey's on the ground, and I think Corey was conscious. And he's taking pictures, and Matt Burke goes up to him. He's like, "Hey, BJ, do you really got to do that?" And so after that, Corey gets up. He goes to the medical tent, and he collapsed from heat exhaustion. It was heat exhaustion.
Mm.
And then they took him right away to the hospital. And I knew when they were giving the reports all night. I knew it was bad when they said that the Vikings offensive line went to the hospital to see Corey. And the only reason I know that is I lost my parents, my mom and dad, 6 months earlier. So when they call you in like the family room, you know it's not good. Yeah. And this basically was to say goodbye. And I just knew it. And then, so I go to bed. That morning, my friend calls me and says Corey Stringer died. Basically, his body, he overheated. Organ shut down.
Yeah. Heat stroke, right?
Heat stroke. He had a heat stroke, and that changed everything. It was just hot that summer because I was in semi-pro too.
And I think that's when they used to do 2 days, right? They used to do different. Yeah.
Yes, 2 days. Matter of fact, the first day at camp, you're hitting.
Yep.
You're hitting. They always got on. They always said Bud had like a lenient camp, but guess what? When you come out of the gate, you were hitting, and we were always the last team to open camp with Bud. Well, it was kind of like that with Denny too. But Denny did have physical camps because it's going to be short, but you guys are going to be ready. And what you're seeing with that now, since that's happened, you kind of see it nowadays. And you see it nowadays because guess what? Veterans don't do anything. They don't do any hitting really until the first game of the year. And when you look at the first game of the year, it's sloppy on both sides of the ball.
That's a double-edged sword, because I get the player safety is important, but the first 3 games of the NFL season is all sloppy, terrible to watch.
Yeah, because what it is you're just now getting those starters a chance to play with each other.
Yep.
Yep.
And here's the thing, like everybody's like preseason sucks. Guess what? Back in the day, preseason was 6 games.
Mm-hmm.
And your starters played in every single game. And depending on how well they were doing, they either played, depending on how far into the season it was, like the last game of the year, your starters played the whole game. I remember Fran Tarkenton playing the whole last preseason game back in the day. and
So
you had to be ready for the regular season.
Yep.
if you were to take a poll, you think of the NFL today, how many coaches you think play their starters in preseason really at all, if any? 50%?
They will
of the
play
coaches?
none, especially the money players, because management is fearful of injuries, and if they lose those players, that
Too much money.
not only affects the team, but it also affects ticket sales.
Yep. Too much money involved.
Too much money
So,
involved.
so essentially, what I'm hearing is the money has inflated the prioritization of the actual sport. And it's
Yes,
influenced the
100%.
sport. It's influenced the sport so much to a point that the integrity of the game has been altered, if
Yes.
you will.
yes,
Interesting.
100%.
Well, now and then with all the gambling stuff, the DraftKings or what a FanDuel, you got to remember back in the day, nobody ever thought, and everybody always said, including myself, no pro sports team will ever go to Vegas. None, zero, never will happen. And now they're going to have all at some point within a few years here. They're going to have everything.
Here's what
MLB,
here's what
NHL,
happened with
football,
Vegas.
basketball.
They weren't going to go to Vegas because it was mob ruled.
Yep.
Once it got corporate ruled, changed everything.
Mm-hmm.
Follow the money. That's all I got to say.
There's a really cool YouTube channel. I'll plug it next time. There's a guy who goes around to all of the NFL teams, and he pays for like a whole day experience of like what a VIP experience is and how much it costs.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like from like getting like a box seat to getting like the experience and stuff. And I think he said the Raiders is one of the nicer ones. I know it's pretty new still, but
Well, and then that goes to another thing now with the new stadiums. And Buffalo is, those fans are pissed. But us Viking season tickets went through the same thing with those PSLs. It's a joke. I mean, you got to pay a PSL per seat to own that seat. And then on top of the season tickets. And with Buffalo, I'll say this. I mean, the Viking, now that stadium's 10 years old, the Vikes. In Buffalo, it's 3 times the money that we are paying here in Minnesota. I mean, it's insane. And that's the problem, too, with the new stadiums all the time because they want to do the PSLs. Because to me, I think that's stealing. It's thievery.
KOC didn't
No,
play
I paid it.
McCarthy.
I paid it because I love the team, and I never was. I went to my first game I ever went to was this is funny, TB, 1984. Les Steckel home opener versus the Chargers, and we know how that went.
Oh, that ass kicking! Oh my god!
And my dream since I was a little kid is I never went. TB went to the Met. He's seen
I was at the Met.
Fran and stuff. I never went to the Met to see my idols, and so that's why I always wanted his season tickets. And
I saw Alan Page's last home game as a Viking. The next time he came back to Met Stadium, he was a Bear. But I saw that, and then I saw the Lions game where Fran Tarkenton got hit in the mouth and lost 3 caps.
Yeah, I remember that game.
I was there. We saw the hit on that side, and we're just like, holy, Fran got just clocked. But yeah, I did see Met Stadium. So
Anthony says KOC didn't play McCarthy in preseason last year because he's an idiot.
He didn't want to play him because he's coming off injury. He didn't want to take a chance if he was going to be a starting quarterback.
So speaking of other stadiums and stuff, Tony and Bill, how many other places have you watched? Have you been to? How many other teams have you been in?
I've been to Arrowhead. I've been to Arrowhead to see the Vikings. I did a doubleheader back in 02. Yeah, was it 02 or 03? So 03, maybe it was 03. Yeah, it was 03. Did a doubleheader. I believe it was 03. Well, whatever, it doesn't matter. 02, 03. Maybe it was 02. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Doubleheader, Twins Royals during the day at Kauffman. And that night, it was a Saturday night, the Vikings and Chiefs preseason.
I went
no Lambeau Field? No Lambeau Field?
No, you know what? I have zero interest. I could give a shit less about that place.
Interesting. I did go. I went to the Georgia Dome when it was open to see the Vikings in Atlanta in 2015.
Oh, I take that back. I was at one other. How could I forget? And 2009, went with Joe Schmidt, former Channel 5 sports director, and 50 other Viking fans with my wife, Blake, and my nephew, Sean. We went to Arizona to see my favorite quarterback, TB, that year. You knew who that favorite quarterback of the Vikings. Number 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, number 4 on Sunday Night Football, seeing Arizona and the Vikings, and the Vikes got it handed to them, but it was still a great time. So I've been to 2 out of outside of
I'm
Minnesota.
going to be honest. I have no interest in going to Lambeau Field because
I have zero interest.
It's not the same Lambeau Field.
Zero
It's
interest.
changed so much. It is not the same Lambeau Field. Soldier Field's not the same Soldier Field. It's been remodeled and redone and everything. It's not the same Soldier Field either. So
anybody in the chat, we were kind of discussing having a fun time about just like some predictions for the year, and we were saying like, if the Vikings make it to the Super Bowl, like I'll shave my head or something funny like that. If anybody wants to chime in with us and do anything crazy or anything, make any predictions or anything, let us know, because we're always up for having fun. And if you're bold enough or want to play along with us and ride along with us for the season, I'm sure we'll have some fun there. So, Tony, so I want to go back to a little bit about what you said specifically on the defense, and I want you to basically say, so do you think our defense this year is strong enough to at least get us to 500 wins? 500?
You got a bunch of different pieces, but you do have Brian Flores. I think the younger pieces will help, but like I tell people, it's a young defense. You're going to have growing pains. So you have to be able to deal with the growing pains. I think they're okay.
Do you think it'll be tough to kind of get some cohesion and continuity along that defensive line, because it is going to be kind of take some time this season a little bit?
Yeah, that takes, especially, and we're talking about the Vikings D line. We need to talk about the Vikings O line. They've got to get cohesion on that unit too. You've got Blake Brandel playing center, who I am not the biggest fan of playing center. We'll see what happens, but once again, you're basically going to plug and play. There's a lot to playing center that really has been more than just snapping the football. Yep. And I don't know if Brandel has got the wits about him and is smart enough to do that.
I mean, it's important, Bill. I mean, the biggest question mark on this team is how is the offense going to execute under Kevin O'Connell, because it's been 4 years. And our offense, I want to say, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but Bill, you've been watching this game longer than me. When the league gets a hold of you and knows what you're doing and is very predictable, it can go downhill. And our offense has gradually gotten a little bit lower each year. Now, you could say quarterback. Okay, you could say the quarterback play. There's a lot to that. But I also think there's a coaching element to this that not a lot of people are talking about. What do you think?
Nobody's talking about the coaching element. That's the problem.
Yeah, well, he doesn't run the ball enough, and that's been since he's got here. But there's, he's supposedly the quarterback guru. I think he's a quarterback guru for your vets to get them to revive their careers. But he is showing with McCarthy, he's not no quarterback guru. I mean, who in their right mind? The kid gets hurt against the Raiders in the preseason in his rookie year. He's out the whole year. Who in their right mind is going to start him? And you're going to know there's going to be major growing pains. It's just logic. Most of the time there's growing pains. And now you give him the year. He gets hurt, and then there's other issues. And he didn't play all that great. We all know that. But then what do? You go out and get a vet. A younger vet. So what does that do to that kid's confidence? This guy, I think this coach would screw up a one-car funeral, for crying out loud. This guy, I mean, what is he doing? I mean, no other organization that I can think of. I know Belichick wouldn't have done it, and I don't even think McVay wouldn't have done it. You don't give up on the kid. We all know Murray's going to be the guy unless he gets hurt. Murray's not coming here to sit on the bench. As TB and I have said, he don't like, and he's even said himself, good old Murray, he does not like competition. He wants to be the guy, and I feel sorry for JJ. He's had 10 starts, 10. And with that logic that our coach done, and let's see, Fran, Terry Bradshaw in Pittsburgh, they called him dumb. They just said he couldn't read.
Here's the funny thing about Bradshaw. They had 3 quarterbacks on that team.
Yes.
The best quarterback was the guy doing coke. Joe Gilliam.
Funny.
Joe, I remember
That's
him.
funny.
I remember
He
him.
was the best one on the team.
Tony, read what T-Bass says here, and what do you think about that?
Yeah, that is true, T-Bass, but also to help a player develop, you got to have a coaching staff that's working with that kid to help him. And I have heard nothing out of the KOC staff, and especially, who's our quarterback coach? Josh McCown?
Yep.
Yeah, McCown.
Okay, so we got 2 failed quarterbacks trying to make this kid an NFL quarterback.
And by the way, the guy that they missed the most is Grant Kaczynski. And they let him go when they should have never let him go. They should have actually got rid of Wes Phillips and let Grant go. And Grant was so beloved in that quarterback room. The kid's a wizard, and they let him go for bleeping Wes Phillips. And, I liked Josh McCown at the time, but what has he done?
I thought Josh McCown sucked as a player.
Yeah, I just thought he might have maybe. My God.
So
he sucks.
I'm on the record saying they're saying it's a competition. They're even doing the motion. They're even doing the actions like it's a competition.
You know why? Okay, Tech. You know why they're doing it now as a competition? Because Teasley's in the building and they had to backtrack. Yep. Because now, here's the thing: Teasley didn't sign Murray. This was all KOC.
Yeah.
So, okay, here's a question though for both of you or anybody in the chat. Anybody in the chat. I'm curious. We've got a lot of brain power here. If Bill, what you said, if KOC's offense is geared towards veteran, right? There's reports of maybe Aaron Rodgers. How many quarterbacks in the league, logistically, do you think would step in from like a talent wise? Like, give me 3 or 4 off the top of your head that you think could pull off this offense. I mean, I know Matt Stafford's one, but like, how many others are there in the league right now that could really be successful? I hear you guys talking about this all the time. He wants a veteran guy who knows the offense, who can read defenses, whatever. But what does a veteran guy have that a young guy doesn't? It's usually just the ability to read the game faster. So in your head, can you think of any quarterbacks in the league right now that could step in besides Kyler, anybody who's starting quarterback in the NFL?
What I said last year is what they should have done is bring in Rodgers and have McCarthy be the backup. And if it wasn't Rodgers, Flacco, somebody, just have McCarthy be the backup. And now that's what normal teams do. When the kid, again, he was hurt his rookie year, the whole year. There was, listen, I'll admit the first game against the Bears when he pulled that off, but then you could see it week by week. He had some good games. Then when they started winning a little bit, but he's just not ready. He needs more time. Some guys just need time. I mean, listen, 10 starts. And he doesn't run the ball. I mean, I took Tony to a game last year against Cincinnati. It was actually the best game of the year. But even in that game, he's afraid to run the ball. They bring in Frank Smith. So if you're going to bring in Frank Smith from Miami, who's known as the running guru, you better run the ball. And that'll help the kids. I don't know what they're going to do with McCarthy because I don't know. I hope they keep him. I don't know. I hope they.
Though the only way now, this is where Teasley's going to have his hands full because that relationship right now between KOC and McCarthy is damn near Van Brocklin.
That's what I'm afraid of.
It's bad. Now here's my thing: you can get any veteran to come in here and run the offense, right? Here's the problem: your play caller. Your offensive coordinator is your head coach.
Yep.
And that guy, I don't care what anybody says, he has the poorest game management I've ever seen. You knew it was bad when even Kirk Cousins, who doesn't rock the boat for anybody, said this. That tells you right there how bad it is. The problem is you gave KOC too much offensive control. And here's the thing. KOC is not ready for that offensive control. KOC never called a play in all his coaching career. He called the plays when he got here, and this was my red flag. When he got here and they asked him in his presser who's going to call the plays, I'm going to call the plays. The last coach to say that was an offensive guy was Brad Childress.
Yeah, the secret squirrel.
Eggs went up Yeah, seek a squirrel. The fucking flags went up right away. So I'm just like, your game management is terrible, and your personnel management is not very good. And yeah, you say the right words, which I think that's one of the reasons he got hired in the first place. But it's all word salad, and there are some things on the football field that you're not good at. Here's a problem: 13-4 and 14-3 covered up just how poor of a coach Kevin O'Connell really is.
Look at the coach. Look at the coach and the team in big games. They're flat usually.
Yeah, they're not ready.
Yo, we got Anthony with us. Last 15 minutes, we're gonna have some of you guys come up here and shoot it with us if you want. Tell us your takes, what we've been talking about. Chime in. Anthony, welcome, buddy.
Hi.
What's your take on what we got going on here, buddy?
Well, I mean, I hate KOC. Everybody knows that.
Giraffe.
And I feel that since KOC wanted Darnold, we didn't keep him. He hates JJ McCarthy.
Yep.
I feel that this year, since he's got Kyler Murray, he's going to take it out on the fan base and the organization. In my opinion, by turning him into Josh Jobs 2.0.
And he'll be fired.
And when that goes to hell,
He'll
we're going to
be
have a
fired.
terrible season, and he's just going to say, hell with it. We had a bad year anyway, so I'm going to go out with a bang, and it'll be his last year.
He'll be fired
And
anyway.
he'll
we'll
be
probably
fired.
be rid of him.
Yeah,
Now,
TC's going to bring in his own guy if that's.
Anthony, what do you think? In hindsight, do you think they kind of fumbled that with Daniel Jones? It would have been interesting to see what Daniel Jones would have
I
been
wasn't a
able
big
to
fan of
accomplish.
Daniel Jones, and I don't like him, and it shows because he went to Indianapolis and got hurt anyway. And who knows when he comes back.
I will say this about Daniel Jones. That's the guy that screwed everything all up because they were convinced he was going to come back and take their deal.
Yeah.
And when he didn't, they got all.
Well, if KOC had his way, he'd have Darnold starting
Scared.
right now with McCarthy as the backup. So he
I-
had
you
to
know what,
settle
Still
for
on the
somebody.
team. Wentz is still on the team.
Yeah.
Wentz-
Prince
Yeah,
Harry?
I mean, I actually feel bad for Wentz because he has to come
I do
back
too.
because of what KOC did. KOC almost got him killed on the field.
Yeah, he lets Prince Harry take the beating. What is it? He
He's
lets
the
Prince
fall
Harry
guy.
take a major beating.
He's the fall
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah, you're right.
Yo, all right.
I
So
mean-
Anthony, what's your prediction for the year? What are you thinking? Above
I mean,
500 or
it's
lower
tough
than
to say.
500?
It depends. If McCarthy's starting, I think we have a good enough year as last year, or even a little better. If Murray's starting this year, and then KOC tries to turn him in Josh Dobbs 2.0, it just goes all downhill from there. And we have a bad year and end up getting a rookie next year. Either Dante Moore or Baker Mayfield as a free agent, but somebody different next year.
He said it here, guys. He said
I mean,
it here.
if Kyler Murray can't even win you any games, and you go with him, if Kyler Murray sucks in preseason and you still go with him, even though JJ McCarthy improved this much, that shows you how much of a horrible coach we got.
I have somebody answer this. The knock on Murray is he doesn't study a lot. How is he getting this offense is complicated? How is he going to get this offense down in this
It's
short
already
time?
come up. It's already come up. It's already come up.
Hell,
He
he's
does not.
golden boy.
He's not studying this playbook at all. It's already.
Okay.
And he's whining already.
And then you got a guy that you drafted 2 years ago that knows now it's in the third year of the offense. He still was studying it his rookie year, so he's in the third year. He
Here is
knows the playbook. What are
I'm
we
gonna
doing here? Oh my
I'm going to
God!
put a scenario out there. Game 1 against the Packers. Murray will start.
Yep.
Wentz is backup.
Oh boy. Oh no.
Wow.
JJ McCarthy is on the inactive list.
Wow. If that's the case, JJ McCarthy won't even want to play this year then.
So it's the infamous continuity argument versus talent,
Yep.
right? Raw talent.
You know what it is? It's
raw
KOC.
talent can get you pretty far, but it's very tough.
You know what it is?
It's
It's
very
KOC is going to inflict his will and prove everybody he was right.
KOC does what he wants, not what's best for the team.
Yep. It's
And
all
he's
about Kevin O'Connell.
He's just a stubborn idiot.
I
who
mean,
just
I'll
needs
be the first one.
Well-
to admit, if we focus on running the ball this year, I think it sets
Yeah,
everything.
good luck with
It ain't
that.
gonna happen.
We'll be
It
last
ain't
in
gonna
running this
happen.
year.
he does one thing better than the previous coach, TB, our head coach right now. At least he says good morning, good afternoon, and good night.
Oh.
Good afternoon, TV. Good afternoon, Bill. Good afternoon,
Kumbaya
Anthony.
O'Connell.
Oh my
Kumbaya O'Connell.
god. Oh yeah, he doesn't hurt anybody's feet.
Kumbaya, my lord.
That you do realize that was a big
Kumbaya.
thing. That
That's
was a
right.
big thing with Bozo the Clown. The previous is because the guys, Kendricks, Thielen, the guys like that were upset with him because in the hallway they'd see him and he would never say good morning.
Well,
They
maybe,
wanted a feelings guy.
well, if they hadn't sucked on Sunday, you might talk to him.
Yes,
I
right.
have a feeling. I have a feeling this is going to be the crash and burn year, and KOC is going to go out with a bang, and it'll be
Fine
over
by
with.
me. Hey, of all the, and I don't know, Dan, what you thought, but I will say this. I've been off his bandwagon since 23, but TB's the one that said it right away when he got hired. When they lost out on Jim Harbaugh, that's another total another hour.
Different
But
day.
that derailed this franchise. But after
I got a story about that whole coaches talking to you shit, and this goes back in the day. Bill knows this story. We talked to bench warmer Bob Lertzema.
yes, we did.
Bob Lertzema was on this team for 5 years.
Yep.
Bud Grant didn't say a damn word to him in all 5 years he was here until he called him. And he wasn't home. Bob's wife answered the phone. And so Bob gets home and his wife is like, Bud called you. And he's like, okay, Bud doesn't even know who the fuck I am. He hasn't talked to me in 5 years. He calls Bud back. Bud told him he had been traded.
Yep.
That was the only time he talked to Bud.
Wow.
Oh, wait a
That's
minute.
crazy.
Bob was traded.
Yeah, he was traded no matter what that idiot online said.
Yeah, I was gonna have fun with that. Now, come on, you know he wasn't traded.
So, Anthony, real quick, tell us your in a couple of minutes when you became, how long you been a Vikings fan, and what was the most memorable moment this team had for your life?
Very first game I ever saw was the one that everybody knows, Candlestick Park in '87. Anthony Carter destroying.
That's a
San
great game.
Francisco.
That's a great game.
I was like a couple years old, and if you ever see my profile picture, you see me when I was a little kid with a mullet, looking like Brian Bosworth with an Anthony Carter jersey on. Yeah, that was like '88 or '89 when I got that jersey. I mean, the crazy part about that, I really think if we went to the Super Bowl that year, we would have had a great chance of winning the Super Bowl.
They would have won.
They would have won the Super Bowl. They
I
would have
mean,
beat Denver.
Fucking Darren Nelson.
Yeah, but you know what? You do realize on that play, AC ran the wrong route.
Yep.
I mean, but it hurt.
Well,
How many people know that? I bet you that man knows that.
The late '80s defense Minnesota had was amazing, in my opinion. We had a
That
lot
def-
of people there.
But I will say this. Can I just quickly say that about Darren? In his defense, if he catches that ball and make the extra point, his game's going into overtime.
Yeah.
Well, but we
So
don't.
we don't even know
what
if they
happened
would have
from
won in overtime. Yeah, I mean, I know, but I hate it when the media, it's not us, but when the media says that cost. Yeah, I know, because we don't, that game, sometimes the media makes it sound like they would have won the game. No, they still had to make the extra.
You know what, though? Here's the thing with that game. That game was close. And here's the thing. Washington got lucky on a pass in score.
Yes. Yeah, don't get me.
Other than that, the defense has shut them down. But here's the problem. The Vikings had the ball at the 1 yard line and could not punch it in. So they had to settle for 3 points.
One of my favorite Vikings touchdowns ever is in the San Francisco game with Reggie Rutland interception and ran it back for 6 on Joe Montana. And I was like, wow.
That was awesome.
That was probably, I remember when it happened, I'm like, Montana's not going to finish this game. And sure enough,
and he didn't.
That's the only game in Montana's career that he got benched and he was healthy.
Yep.
So speaking of touchdowns, oh, go ahead, Bill.
Let me say, I think the reason they lost that game is the Vikings offensive line gave up 8 sacks.
Gave up 8 sacks.
Yeah,
that's a lot of sacks.
They gave up 8 sacks.
That was one of the weaker years for offensive line, but otherwise they had really good offensive lines.
The year before they drafted.
Speaking of favorite touchdowns, what are your guys' favorite touchdowns if you have them in your memory of this team?
Well, let me mention one more real quick. The other one is my favorite. I tell Tony this all the time. Matt Blair blocking the field goal in Super Bowl IX. Wasn't
Oh,
it
yeah.
Terry?
Oh, the punt,
Who was the
yeah.
guy that recovered it?
Terry Brown. Terry Brown.
I mean,
Terry Brown.
Matt Blair. I mean, if without Matt Blair, we don't do anything in that Super Bowl.
Well, yeah. Oh man, that's a tough one. I know what my favorite is.
What's your
Is
favorite
that-
touchdown?
Okay, well, it was a touchdown. I'm going to go back to December 26, 1976 in the NFC Championship, and Tom Dempsey's ready to kick the chip shot field goal, and Nate Allen comes around the edge, blocks it, and Bobby Bryant goes 90 plus down the sidelines, touchdown, 7-0 lead Vikings, game over.
That's what T-Bass just said. Playoff
That's
touchdown, Bobby
another one
Bryant's
with-
90
without
yards
Bobby
return.
Bryant.
Yeah.
Bobby
He just
Bryant
said
helped
that.
us in the playoffs a lot. Bobby Bryant was crucial to the
Yeah,
Oh, he
Bobby
was-
Bryant team. God, my
TB,
most
what's your-
memorable. So many. Well, definitely the one that I always liked, that was always stands out to me, was Tommy Kramer to Sammy White in that San Francisco 49er game.
Oh, that was don't kill that game. We could have a
Speaking of Sammy
show
White, what
on that
about the one
game.
he got? What about the one he got against the Redskins in the playoffs?
Oh yeah, when he
At
rolled on the
76.
ground and caught the ball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
a really good one. I watched that
In
on that
Houston.
video a lot.
I think
If
Ken
you
Houston-
want to watch great
ball.
quarterback play, Bob Lee showed you what a great quarterback play was, right? TB in that 77
That's
game.
because you hate Bob Lee with the.
Oh, I hate Bob Lee.
Bob Lee was in the mud. Wasn't Bob Lee in the Mud Bowl?
Yes, he is
Yeah.
terrible. Terrible.
Well, I mean, everybody was terrible
I
in the
was-
Mud Bowl. You couldn't really do
I was
much.
11 years old swearing at that TV as an 11-year-old, get that bleepily bleep out of here. He sucks, and he did.
Hey,
You
we
know
had
what?
two
You know
Bobs,
why?
Bob Lee and Bob
you know
Berry.
why- Here's what happened. You know why Tommy Kramer didn't see the playoffs? After he won that,
I know.
he started against the Raiders
And
and
he got his, I know. He got his head handed to
Okay.
him.
got his head handed to him.
That's one team in the 70s
My
we had
favorite
problems with is
touchdown.
the
All right,
Raiders.
let's see. Can you guys see this? My favorite touchdown is. You guys might see it. I'm going to share my screen real quick and see if you guys
Oh.
can see it.
Let's check it out.
Can you see it?
Favre.
Oh, yeah, I was
yeah,
there.
Greg Lewis.
I got a story on that, too.
This is a good touchdown.
I was there at that game.
I've
watched
always
Look at this
hated,
throw.
I have always hated those uniforms. Those have to be the ugliest freaking
Hell,
Yeah.
those are awful.
the team ever had in team history.
Yeah,
Those
they're not
uniforms
good.
are hideous.
Did you guys actually see that? I didn't know if it came through or not.
I
Yeah,
seen
but
it. I remember.
I saw it. Yep.
Oh, that's a sick throw, dude. That's a sick throw.
I was
Favre-
never a fan of him.
Cannon,
I hated
bro.
that
Oh,
guy.
yeah,
the,
that
the
cannon.
uniforms I love the
Hate
most
that
are the
guy,
ones we
still hate
had.
him.
The ones we had when Joe Cap led us to the championship game. Those uniforms were great.
Those are nice.
Those
they
are
were good.
classic.
Solid. Yep.
Those are
solid.
That's one of my
Solid.
favorites the Vikings wore. 69.
Yep. They were solid. Very solid.
69. Our 69 defense is one of the best ever. That year.
It never gets credit. And the
So-
71 defense was better than them.
Yep.
yeah.
Next show, you guys. Just want to give you a heads up to anybody who's watching still. Will be next Thursday, a week from today,
Yep.
and we're gonna start with the beginning. So we're gonna do a brief history of the Vikings. TB's got a lot of history. Got some pictures, kind of the beginning creations of the Minnesota Vikings,
The Norm
so we
Van
can kind of get
Brocklin
an
era.
understanding of where it came from. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, and right away, I'll tell everybody now, for those of you that are always complaining you don't want your politics in your sports, listen to this story. You might not want to listen to this story because there's a ton of politics in how the Vikings came to be.
We still learn.
Fair.
A learning
fair.
lesson.
T-Bass says, "Who remembers Sammy White getting nailed by
Oh, I
Shaq
do.
Tatum?"
Oh, I remember that.
Hats
I
off
remember
to
watching
Sammy.
the game.
all the
Holding onto
time
the
on
ball.
the videos.
No, I was watching the game.
I was watching the game.
Saw it when it happened.
Mhm.
I mean,
You
the
know?
best part about Sammy White, he could take a hit and still keep on.
He held on to the ball,
You know what's even funny about? You know what's funny about that though?
and he scored a touchdown later.
You know what's funny about that? People don't realize this. Sammy White missed the team bus to the stadium.
Wow.
He had to get in a cab and take a cab to the stadium. He missed the team bus. So his Super Bowl started out bad.
I bet Bud Grant ripped his ass for that.
So they had to miss the bus, and then Rashad goes in the morning the cafeteria room, and he said when he took a look at his teammates, he said, "Game over. We're going to lose. Done. It's over. Ball
Yeah.
game."
Mhm.
The attitude. The look on their faces, like was defeated already.
They were too wound up. They were too tight.
Too tight, and that's my knock on
help. It didn't help when you hand the ball to Dan McClanahan.
Brent McClanahan. Yeah, well, Bud.
Don't even get me started on that one.
Yeah, that's another show with Bud because I like
McClanahan really.
So before we head out here, Anthony, anybody want to shout out for on the stream, buddy? We just want to make sure we get you. Thanks for coming on. We just want to give you a shout out for getting on our stream.
I can't wait to go to my first Vikings game this year. I'm going to see them versus the Bucs in Tampa.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm gonna shit. I want to see Big Citrus knock Baker Mayfield out.
Did you get tickets already then, huh?
Yeah, I mean we're gonna sit up like the 50-yard line, a couple rows up at Raymond James Stadium.
Oh, nice, very nice. How far are you from Ray J? How far are you from Ray J?
I personally live in a different county, but at the moment I went to a wrestling show last night, so I'm hanging out with my buddy. He lives in St. Pete, which is like the county left of.
Yep, I know where it is. Yep.
I mean, it's not that far of a drive to go to Tampa.
My mom and dad had a place in St. Pete, Largo, so I know where that is.
Oh, man, but shit. I can't wait to leave Florida. It's a mess down here. It was almost 100 degrees today. I went to the wrestling event last night, and I sweated before the whole show even started.
I believe
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Anthony. We appreciate you coming on, buddy.
You.
Good to have you, buddy.
Later, Anthony.
Awesome. Well, hey, we are right at 8. We just want to say a big shout out for stopping by and letting Bill explain his part in the show and where he's going to be and how he can contribute as well, guys. We look forward to seeing you next Thursday, and I'll leave Tony and Bill any final thoughts.
You go first, TB.
Oh, I just want to give a shout out to T-Bass, Dell, everybody else that was in the comments.
A couple of new ones, Jennifer and Karen.
Oh, Jennifer.
Yeah. Jennifer, I'm friends with her.
Karen is my sister, probably.
Okay, so there's family. So thanks once again.
I know, Jennifer. That has to be Jennifer Daly, I would assume, right, TB?
Uh-huh. Yeah. Thank you, everyone, for the support.
Thank you.
There's a lot of history to talk about with this team. Good.
I know what I'm going to give my shout out to because I'm going to do it now. For a shout out first to everybody that watched and commented, but I'm going to give a shout out to Tony because Tony had this show before with his buddy and about a couple years ago, TB, am I about right on that too? Okay.
Yeah, we catch.
His buddy passed away suddenly and wanted to revive the show. And I want to thank him for asking me to help out with the show. That's what I want to give a shout out to is the guy that really started this whole thing is TB and rest in peace to his buddy.
Catch. Yep.
Catch.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Tony. I'm
and then Dan too. And Dan for helping with all what he does because I don't have a clue, and I thank him too because it really helps. And we got.
I'm technology stupid.
So don't even get me started. I don't know.
I'm not good at it at all. I can't even drop a link. So I mean,
shout out to TB and Dan.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Tony. No, I know it's a huge honor, and I hope I can, kind of guide us along and let you guys, I guess you guys are the wisdom gods to carry me to the next generation.
We're the only ones.
There may not be much hope for my generation of Vikings fans, but at least you guys got some hope left. So
our generation is slowly leaving,
phasing out. Yeah,
out. But also, there's nobody on the internet doing this at all.
No,
it is wall to wall current talk of this.
And I'm sorry. Sometimes I think it's gay. I get this show like this, what TV had before, and it's being revived. Is what I'll say this. And this is just my belief on any team for anybody cheers for. To be, to me, a true fan of any team, you should know the history of that organization, period. And the story.
Get the hell out of here, you fair weather fans. There's a lot of fair weather fans in Minnesota.
And TB and I, and people that are older than us, we had I'll have to say, do it the hard way because there wasn't what people have today is a lot. And good for them, easier.
It's right at their fingertips. They're stupid. It's right at their fingertips, and they're still a bunch of dumbasses. That's what I don't understand. All you got to do is Google it. Well, some of them can't even spell Google. But I mean, it's like all you got to do is look it up.
Yeah.
We're,
By the way,
or if we had to look
we're
up
a family.
anything-
By the way, we're a family-friendly show. Everybody, we're a family-friendly show.
yeah, that'll change after a while.
That'll change because the parental advisory will have to come aboard.
Yeah, that's why we're not talking about the Love Boat.
Love Boat off limits.
Yeah,
We'll
Love
talk
Boat
about
we're not
off
talking
limits,
about,
off
everyone.
No, the
limits.
reason I'm not talking about the Love Boat is me and Ketch, God rest his soul, we did a damn near 3-hour show on that subject.
Is that on YouTube still or no?
It is still on Ketch's channel. I'll have to
Okay.
I'll have to put the link down. I can do that. But yeah, we did a damn near 3-hour show, but we had to put the parental advisory up because even the stuff we were reading, it was explicit. And
Yeah.
and then I also, since I was supposed to be on the boat, but I was going through my stuff, I had a friend who was on the boat, and he told me everything, and I said the same thing on air, so that earned us the parental advisory. But yeah, and it's just it's so in detail, that's one show I'm gonna have it stand alone with me.
Yep.
So we talked about the Purple People Eaters too. So I mean we're going to get into all those subjects as time goes by.
There's so much content. It's coming out of your ears.
Yeah, there's
Awesome.
a lot of content with this team and a lot of history with this team, good, bad, and in between.
And by the way, that's one. Then we'll end the show. That is one thing people must understand. You have to talk not only about good, you have to talk about bad. That's reality in life. You can't change history.
You got to take the good with the bad.
That's right.
As
Two
time
sides
goes,
to every coin. Two sides to every
Okay.
coin.
yeah,
All right.
exactly. So,
All right, guys, we're out. A huge shout out to all you guys for stopping by. We'll see you next Thursday. The Vikings beginning creation. Take care, guys.
Yep. Have a good one, guys. Skol, everyone.
Skol, everybody.